Jordan Walsh is starting to shock everyone with his play. In these past two preseason games, we've seen Jordan Walsh come out and play on fire and start to play up to his potential of what Celtics fans like me and all you guys have thought he could play like. I'm Godfrey Sympre. This is another episode of Celtics Digest. Subscribe if you guys are new and you haven't watched a video before. We appreciate all the support. Me and Bruce thank you guys a lot. And let's get into the video. The guy I want to talk about today is Jordan Walsh. Now, in these first two preseason games versus the Denver Nuggets, we've seen Jordan Walsh actually step up his play from the Summer League. I remember a lot of people were talking about him, especially during Summer Leagues, talking about, oh, he's not good, he's not that great, he might be a trade candidate in a couple of years. But honestly, he's really surprised me a lot. And I don't know if it's because he's gained more confidence, but he's really surprised me to the point where I genuinely think he could earn some rotational minutes this upcoming season. Now, I know this might be a kind of crazy take because not a lot of people have been talking about him, especially in the chances of him getting rotational minutes. But there are a couple spots open, especially Oshae Brissett's spot from last year where he played about 15 minutes in a couple crucial games, and knowing that he has a chance to have that spot open, which is a kind of a crucial spot, there might be a couple of games where one of the bigs are out, where one of the forwards are out, JT or JB might be out, and we need to, bring in a couple of guys that are deeper down in the bench. I feel like Walsh could be that guy coming into next year. Now, before we dump into all of the things they've done during preseason, and I think the reason why his play has been so good, but I'm going to bring up his stats from last year and tell you guys he definitely has improved these, and I definitely think that if he plays next year in a rotational role where he gets a couple more minutes during games, I definitely think these stats will be improved upon. Now, last year, I wish I had the minutes per game for you guys, but he's still very young. I just want y'all to see this right here. He's still 20 years old, but in the rotational minutes that he did play on the Celtics team, he averaged 1.7 points, 2 rebounds, half a steal, shot 40%, and shot 22% from the three-point line. Now, the number that I want to talk about is the 22%. We've seen if he can improve, his defense is already there. When he was drafted in, we already knew that his defense was elite, but his offensive part of the game was still very needed to be developed. Now, going into talking about how I think he's played this year. Now, I have this comment from Bruce given to Noah Dezell, and I just think it was a great thing to see, seeing this. Basically what Bruce asks is, he was unable to watch a game, but he's seen that Walsh and Brissy comparisons a lot on his timeline. Do we think he can slot into those minutes to earn a role? Now, Noah, who does an incredible work for the Celtics and posts a lot of great NBA content, as well and WNBA content, she says, I'd imagine the plan for this season is more time in Maine rather than in Boston as he continues to develop, but liked what I saw out of Jordan this week, much less sped up and playing his role well. Good defensive flashes today too. Now we're talking about the second game out of the two that were played in Abu Dhabi. So I'm gonna bring up the stats too, and just to show you guys, in the second game, he had 9 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 blocks. Now, coming out of Arkansas, he was a great defensive player, and I thought he was very raw at the time. But we see, as Noah says, he might be in Maine, but I definitely think he could be the 13th man, maybe playing in Maine for the beginning part of the season and then making his way, from the All-Star break on to being on the bench for the Celtics. I definitely think he showed from those games, he showed that his defensive flashes are really there. During the Summer League, he was playing very, the best word I could use during the Summer League is that he wasn't playing very comfortable. He felt like he was sped up, not playing to his brand of basketball. And I think during these two preseason games, he was able to utilize his, 6'7", 7'2" wingspan to create plays on the defensive end, as well as the offensive end, pouring in the three-point shot as well, which has been significantly improved from Summer League to now. So it shows that he's been in the gym, and using his defensive abilities that are already elite and his measurables that were already elite coming into the league. to show that he's one of those better that he's one of those better players on the second round in his draft. Now, coming out of Arkansas, he was very raw, but we see this continuous improvement. Even though in the summer league he didn't play very well, but I think out of these 2 preseason games, his stock definitely has risen. Now, I'm just going to talk a little bit more about last year, and in the games where he was in Maine, he played honestly pretty well. I had 14.4 points, 5.5 rebounds, 2.2 assists, and 1.4 steals over 14 games. Shot 34% from 3 and 43% from the field. Now, I think the biggest thing is, since O'Shea is now gone, there's going to be that need for someone to fill in that spot. And I think my best pick for that spot at the moment is Jordan Walsh. But I definitely could see why Noah Dezell did say that he would spend some time in Maine, because of, the obvious point is that he's not there ready yet on the offensive end, and he's still a raw defensive player, even though his measurables are there. Now, when you're 6'7", 7'2" wingspan, you're gonna be pretty good on defense. Like, I think that's something that's very, everyone sees that from one range or another. The measurables are there. We just need to see him continuing to improve on his game year in and year out. Now, being a second-round draft pick, you're not expected of much, but I think he can crush those projections right here in this season. The next thing that he needs to improve, and we're probably going to see more out of these next couple preseason games coming up, is continuing the improvement of his three-point jumper. Continuing just showing those defensive flashes, becoming more of a menace on the defensive end. And I definitely think he has the potential to very much show that he's a player that can earn that 13th rotational spot on the team. Now, I know we're talking about, the core guys are already the core guys on the Celtics team. It's just figuring out who's going to be on the rest of the bench. We have rookie Baylor Shireman. We have Drew Peterson. We have people that could fill those roles at the end of the bench. And I know people are going to be asking about Lonnie Walker. Why aren't you naming him? But Lonnie didn't show me that much to see that he was going to earn that guaranteed contract coming into the year. That's just my personal take on things. I don't think he's going to be on the team. He might be up in Maine for a couple, and I think a team will gladly take him. His offensive game is there, but I just don't know how much he fits into the team after seeing him play a little bit during the weekend. Now, I think Walsh is the perfect fit to have as like that fourth wing piece just off the bench to come in for a couple of games, 15 minutes, play some defense, get a couple threes, and just show that he's an improved player from last year. Now, let me know what your thoughts are down below. I know this is just talking about the 13th man, but it's very important in the beginning, early seasons part of basketball. Rotation pieces are, you don't play only 9 guys at the beginning of the season. You probably play 10 or 11 guys at the beginning of the season. And that's one thing that people are not, that don't talk about enough. I feel like we always just talk about, you only have to have your rotation super short because, playoffs. But at the beginning of the season, rotations are 10, 11, sometimes 12 guys big. And as you get towards the end of the season, that's when the rotations really clamp down and get as small as possible. I definitely think Walsh has a chance to play a lot of minutes in the beginning of the season, maybe not at the end. And I definitely think a possible main stint would be great for him as well to show that he's better than some of the people in the G League currently. Let me know your thoughts down below, guys. I'd love to know them. And have a good one. See ya.